Welcome to English Stories AI. Whether you're looking to improve your speaking, writing, or comprehension skills, we've got you covered. So, if you're ready to take your English to the next level, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. A few weeks later, something fun happened at school. They decorated the courtyard with lots of balloons and we got to skip some classes. I saw her there and we sat together. We didn't talk much at first, but we enjoyed watching the balloons fall from the second floor into the fountain. Her smile was pretty and made me happy. Suddenly, she said, "I want that balloon." I asked her which balloon she meant, and she pointed to one. So I went and got it for her. Her smile got even bigger when I gave it to her. I felt calm and happy seeing her smile. I wanted to hold her hand and tell her how she made me feel. But I was scared of messing things up. Finally, I got the courage to say, "I like making you happy." She smiled even more, and I knew I had made the right choice. I didn't know what would happen next, but I was excited to find out. A couple of weeks later, an exciting event took place at school, which included the suspension of some classes and the decoration of the central courtyard with numerous balloons that piled up around the fountain. That's when I ran into her, and we sat together on the step under the arch of one of the corners of the courtyard. Although we spoke little at first, the tension dissipated as we watched the balloons cascading down from the second floor to the fountain. Her gaze was simply captivating, full of light and tenderness, and her expression kept taking my breath away. Suddenly, she said with a soft but determined voice, "I want that balloon." I asked her which of all the balloons she was referring to, and with a delicate gesture, she pointed out one in particular. Without hesitation, I got up and went in search of the balloon she desired. Her face stayed engraved in my mind, and I felt a warm and comforting sensation seeing her smile when I came back with the balloon in hand and handed it to her. "Why did you bring it to me?" she asked curiously. Without much thought, I replied, "Because I noticed how happy it made you to see the balloons fall, and I wanted to see you smile." Her smile widened, and I felt my heart beating strongly. At that moment, something changed inside me. I was no longer just captivated by her tenderness or her gaze, nor was I excited or nervous. Instead, I experienced a deep tranquility seeing her smile, as if everything fit perfectly at that moment. I wanted to take her hand, caress it and tell her how she made me feel, how her presence filled me with happiness and tenderness, and how calm I felt at that moment. However, I was also afraid of ruining that magical moment. As I looked at her closely, I gathered courage and said to her sincerely, "I like seeing you happy." Her eyes lit up, and a radiant smile illuminated her face. At that moment, I knew I had made the right decision by expressing what I felt. Although I didn't know how this story was going to continue, I felt full of hope and excitement for what the future might hold. A couple of weeks later, a thrilling event unfolded at school, which involved the cancellation of certain classes and the adornment of the central courtyard with a plethora of balloons that clustered around the fountain. That was when I happened upon her, and we sat together on the steps beneath the arch of one of the courtyard's corners. Initially, we spoke little, but the tension between us dissipated as we gazed in awe at the balloons cascading down from the second floor to the fountain. Her gaze was simply captivating, emanating light and tenderness, and her expression left me breathless. Suddenly, she spoke up with a soft but determined voice, "I want that balloon." I inquired as to which of the numerous balloons she was referring to, and she pointed out one in particular with a delicate gesture. Without hesitation, I got up and set out in search of the balloon she desired. Her image remained etched in my mind, and I felt a warm and comforting sensation as I witnessed her smile widen upon my return, holding the balloon in hand. She curiously asked me, "Why did you bring it to me?" Without much thought, I responded, "Because I noticed how happy it made you to see the balloons falling, and I wanted to see you smile." Her smile grew wider, and my heart began to race. At that moment, something shifted within me. No longer was I merely captivated by her tenderness or her gaze, nor was I filled with excitement or nervousness. Instead, I experienced a profound tranquility seeing her smile, as if everything was perfectly aligned at that moment. I wanted to take her hand, caress it, and tell her how she made me feel, how her presence filled me with happiness and tenderness, and how calm I felt in that moment. However, I was also afraid of ruining that magical moment. As I looked at her closely, I summoned the courage to sincerely express, "I like seeing you happy." Her eyes lit up, and a radiant smile illuminated her face. At that moment, I knew I had made the right decision by expressing what I felt. Though I didn't know how this story would continue, I felt a sense of hope and excitement for what the future might hold.